that many people just want to hold the Quran without wudu, although there is a fiqhi difference of opinion about this issue, but still the respect dictates that we should hold the Quran with wudu. Many people just leave the Quran on the floor and they say, well, there's no hadith or anything like that that says that you're not supposed to put the Quran on the floor. Well, the floor is where we put our feet. What if somebody puts his foot on your face? Is that going to be respectful? It's not going to be respectful, right? Nobody, even in all cultures, it's a universal thing that if you're sitting, you don't point your feet at somebody. It's regarded as disrespectful in all cultures. So how can we put the Quran in the same place that we put our feet? So this is something that we need to understand, the respect and the sanctity of the Quran, that these are truly the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that have been given to us. We should respect them and we should appreciate them. And the fact that the Prophet ﷺ brought these words to us and he gave these words to us intact without any kind of contamination. So we need to respect, we need to have adab. This is very, very important. And the first adab is that when we're about to recite the Quran, we say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. And the other opinion is that after reciting the Quran, why would we say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim? That now we've read the Quran, we've internalized the meanings, we've heard what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to say to us. And now when we want to put it into practice, we do not want the shaitan to intervene and infiltrate in between us and our deeds and our intentions, and therefore we ask the refuge of the shaitan, from the shaitan. We ask the refuge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the shaitan to protect us from his evil after we've recited and after we put into practice or try to put into practice what we've read. So Allah says, فَإِذَا قَرَأْتَ الْقُرْآنَ فَاسْتَعِذْ بِاللَّهِ. Seek the refuge of Allah, مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ, from the outcast shaitan. And now, is this obligatory or not? Is this an obligation to say, أَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ or not? The majority of the scholars say that this is not an obligation, rather this is an amr lin-nudb. Nudb means that it's recommended that we say, أَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ before we recite. And in the majority of cultures, especially in Indo-Pak culture, the idea is that we should say Bismillah is more important than A'udhu Billah. The reality is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't tell us to say Bismillah before reading, but He told us, He commanded us to make isti'adha, meaning say A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim. So that is more important than Bismillah. Now, on the same token, to say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim at the beginning of the surahs, it is essential, because some scholars, they say that Bismillah at the beginning of the surah is actually part of the surah. So when the surah is beginning, it is essential. At the middle of the surah, it's not essential. It is again recommended. It is good to do that, but it's not as important as isti'adha, meaning saying A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim. So after that, Allah says, إِنَّهُ لَيْسَ لَهُ سُلْطَانٌ عَلَى الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَلَىٰ رَبِّهِمْ يَتَوَكَّلُونَ. Indeed, He doesn't have any control over those people that have iman and they have tawakkul on their Lord. So what does sultan mean? Sultan, there are two meanings of sultan. Sultan is derived from salit, and salit is basically when the oil that you use to light a fire, you light it and it becomes litten. So this whole procedure is called salit, and the light that emerges, it enlightens the way. So that's why the word sultan, it means hujjah, proof, because it guides you and it tells you the right way. It is a proof. That's one meaning of sultan. And the other meaning of sultan is control. Okay, the king, he has control, he influences, he makes the judgments, he makes decisions. This is also sultan. And in both ways, the shaitan has no influence whatsoever. إِنَّهُ لَيْسَ لَهُ sultan. He has no hujjah, he has no proof to guide you, because his proofs are simply wasawis. His guidance is simply whisperings. So he has no proof. And secondly, he has no power also to take your hand and make you do something. all he can do is whisper. And that is why it's important for us to, there's something that we need to understand, is that we give shaitan too much credit. We give shaitan too much credit, whereas he has no control over us whatsoever. He said to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when he was asking permission to try to misguide us until the day of judgment, he said that فَبِعِزَّتِكَ لَأُغْوِيَنَّهُمْ أَجْمَعِينَ إِلَّا عِبَادَكَ مِنْهُمُ الْمُخْلَصِينَ. I swear by your honor, I'm going to misguide every single one of them, except your chosen slaves. So, meaning that there are some people that he cannot influence at all. Okay? So, the shaitan, all he does is whisper. He cannot prove to us that what he's telling us to do is correct. And the other thing is, he cannot force us to do anything that is beyond our will. That is simply our own doing. So this is where the nafs comes in. Our nafs, our desire, our inclination. And I often give this example for people to understand this, that there are people, for example, who drink alcohol. They drink alcohol, but yet when you put pork in front of them, they cannot imagine eating pork. So you can say, well, the shaitan influenced you to drink the alcohol. Why can't he influence you to drink pork, eat pork? There's a fair question, right? That's a very fair question. Both equally haram. Alcohol is haram, pork is haram. So why is it that you cannot eat pork and yet you can drink alcohol? That means that it is actually one's own desire that pushes him to do something that he's inclined towards and keeps him away from the thing that he's not inclined towards. So this is what nafs is. So the shaitan can just whisper in a person's ear and try to misguide him, but ultimately it's the person that does the actual action. And that's why on the day of judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes the shaitan. What does he say? وَقَالَ الشَّيْطَانُ لَمَّا قُضِيَ الْأَمْرِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ وَعَدَكُمْ وَعْدَ الْحَقِّ وَوَعَدْتُكُمْ فَأَخْلَفْتُكُمْ وَمَا كَانَ لِي عَلَيْكُمْ مِنْ سُلْطَانٍ